time. Wow, I keep getting poor connection on that. Welcome everybody to this conversation. This is going to be an exciting one. I'm really excited. We had lots and lots of amazing things happen this week. Well, it's Tuesday night, and because I've had lots of things happen since Tuesday night, I'm going to be sharing with you some things that can support you in moving forward to what it is that you want to create. Yeah, man, my connection is like really slow. So appreciate you all being here. If this is your first time checking in, please type in if you're watching this live or if this is the replay. Tell me where you're checking in from, because this conversation we are going to expose, this is what's been missing of everything that you've done in every single area of your life. And I am really excited to bring this to you because I've had some conversations and interactions with some other people that have revealed some things that is really poignant to what we're going to be talking about this evening. So let me ask you, what is it that determines whether you like somebody or not? What determines whether you like somebody or not? Like, what are your rules around whether you follow somebody back or not, or whether they say something and they unfollow you, right? Like, what is your rules about that? Because friends, what is so important to understand about this, right, is that it is the differences within ourselves and each other that are not part, but that are literally responsible to create evolution. Like we have to have the polarity of different vantage points and viewpoints and perspectives in order for us to evolve. And how we need to do that is we got to be mature enough to hold the space and respect other people's models of the world. Right? If we go around canceling, like, okay, so I'll tell you what happened. I'm just going to tell you straight up. Would everybody like to know what happened to me? Not to me, but through me, right? Like I had somebody say something, and it was a coach. And I always love calling coaches forward because coaching, getting a certificate does not circumvent experience, right? And what I mean by that, like getting certifications, getting your different skills, getting your different techniques, all that, like that's a good thing, right? Like I've got lots of master level certifications, board certifications, like blah 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 blah, or like I've got all that. And the thing that separates me from most coaches, one is what the results my clients get, but the other one is I'm one of the more seasoned people here on the internet, right? Like I've been around a while. And because I've been around a while, I've got a whole bunch of experience that can support people in moving them forward in whatever area of life that they want to move forward. Because what determines how you accelerate through something is what you hang on to, right? And so I've got lots of experience in letting go of things that have kept me playing small and kept me showing up the way I showed up and sabotaging the things that I sabotaged. And I really want to do everything I can to support you. So had this coach, she said that I should vote for a particular political party. And I just put on a hard pass, like, no. And see, one of the things that's really interesting is when coaches start getting involved in politics. Now, think about this. Why is it that we're not able to talk about religion and politics? I want you to think about that because this is super important, right? It reflects how we've been educated, right? Like, so there's a movie called RGB. I think it's RGB, but it's about Ruth Bader, whatever her last name was. She was a Supreme Justice that died, I think last year sometime. But the thing that was amazing about that movie, one is I learned a whole lot about how much she did for women's rights, which I thought was awesome, right? The other thing that I learned was her best friend was a Republican Supreme Justice. Like he had direct opposite political views and they were best friends. Why is that important? Is because it is us having different vantage points that support us evolving, right? Because if we all have the same vantage point, we're not ever going to grow. We're not ever going to have the resistance that's going to make us look at things in a different way. And see, right now, friends, understand duality is the number one thing that they are using to get us to get afraid, to get angry, to whatever. And see, this is so important. This is so important. If they can confuse you, if they can make you angry, and if they can make you afraid, they can control how you behave. And you will never be able to see what truth is. You have to literally get up into courage before you're able to even distinguish what truth is. And friends, understand, this is what's mind-boggling. Over 80% of humanity isn't able to distinguish what truth is. Okay. And that is like you knowing what you know and being able to validate it within yourself to know whether it's truth or not. So I had a coach who also liked what he was teaching. There was something off about him. So yeah, and understand, friends, they're like, the coaching industry is blown up, which is got its great points and it has its cons as well, because everybody and their dog wants to be a coach, but it goes along with the service industry as well. Like there's a bunch of people out there that want to help other people, and they want to help them because they want to find significance, right? And they haven't done the internal work. Now, having somebody believe in you is powerful. Like getting a coach, just having somebody to believe in you is a very, very, very powerful thing, right? Like it stretches you to be able to do things that you weren't able to do, right? That's a good thing. The other thing is having somebody to dialogue with things. Another very important thing. The thing that's missing that is so, so, so important is having somebody that's going to teach you strategies to get through the thresholds. The only way you're going to be able to do that is to have a coach that has actually done the work on themselves, right? And so I got a PhD in screwing shit up. Just let's be real. Like I've screwed up a whole bunch of stuff, and I've gone through divorces. I've been bankrupt. Like I've almost killed my sister in a car accident. Like I've dealt with deep, deep, deep levels of guilt, shame, humiliation, things like that. I don't say that to impress you, because I promise you, I would have liked it. Well, that's another conversation. Apparently I signed up for this training to support me in becoming the person that I am, so that I can support other people in getting through what it is that they want to get through. Okay. So my point in saying all this is, what is the evidence that you can trust yourself, right? Like that's what's missing. Right? Like, how do you know whether or not you can trust yourself? And see, if you were raised in an environment that didn't allow you to trust your instincts, or your instincts created survival programs, you will never be able to survive until, thrive until you look at the programs that you developed to survive in the environment that you were raised in. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that your parents were toxic or unhealthy parents. It also means that you could have had an experience at school, right? Like the humiliating experiences that we've had in our past are the very thing that we do everything we can to resist. Okay. And so what I mean by that is, so if I'm dropping some truth bombs here, like this is the stuff that I share with my clients, and part of what I'm going to be sharing on my ROI Accelerator Challenge. And by the way, if I'm actually looking for 3 people. I'm actually going to be putting a video out here tomorrow and the next couple of days. I am looking for 3 people, and only 3 people that I'm going to pour my heart into. I'm going to teach them all the strategies that I have, and I'm going to show them how that I did the workshop that I did at the beginning of this year and did 95K right out of the gate, right out of 2022, and how I've been able to create other things throughout this whole pandemic, right? I want to teach these people how to do that. And the most important thing for any entrepreneur is understanding how to adapt, how to have the awareness, how to adapt. And then out of that, you're able to act in a way that's effective and congruent with what it is that you really want to create, right? So I'm looking for 3 people. If you're interested in being that and having a conversation, we can set up a 15-minute conversation, and you and I have a conversation, see if you qualify. Just type in interested below. Just type in interested. Well, not below. If you're up here on live, send me a DM that says interested. And I'll send you a link, and we can set up a conversation. No obligation. Let's just see if we're fit and make some magic happen. But what I want to share is that the things that, see, friends, it's not people that fight. It's not people that fight. This was, and understanding this is what happened with this coach. Okay. I said what I said, hard pass, and effective seduction is not recognized. Very, very, very powerful statement. Whatever it did, it triggered her, right? And then she's like, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. And I went, okay, what did I say that wasn't nice? But like, I was just holding the boundary. Like, I'm not going to do this, okay? And offered her an opportunity to look at, why did I say what I said, right? Because friends, if you don't understand influence, it is being used on you. Okay. Now let's look at politicians. Let's just look at politicians. And even what I'm saying is probably going to set it up so that I'm going to be shadow banned even more, right? Which is some of what I want people to pay attention to, because they are controlling what you perceive. If they are controlling what you can perceive, they are going to control what you believe. This is why I always, always, always say, do balanced research. Do balanced research. There is stuff that you're not even able to find on Google. Okay. I happen to coach somebody that's a top executive in Google. So I got some insider information on all this, right? So do a balanced research. Just because something irritates you or comes to you and it doesn't align with who you are, does not mean that it's not truth. Okay. Every story has a little bit of truth in it. Okay. And what are most politicians? Most politicians are lawyers. Okay. Nothing against lawyers, not all of them. Okay. What's a lawyer's job? A job of the lawyer is to paint a scenario that makes his client look innocent, whatever it is, right? Whether they're guilty or not, right? Their job is to paint a picture to get people to believe that their client is innocent. They are masters at what they call sleight of hand, or excuse me, sleight of mouth. Sleight of hand is magic. So magic is I get you to look over here and I'll do the trick over here, right? Sleight of mouth is being able to say things like a mega pint. We all heard that. Now think about that one. That right there is case in point, right? Johnny Depp's trial. Okay. They had everybody focused on that. And there's all kinds of stuff that happened in the background. All kinds of stuff. Like Epstein's girlfriend was on trial. There was another high profile politician that was on trial that nobody heard anything about. And as soon as it was over, guess what happened? Guess what happened? Right? Friends, understand you are being hoodwinked. Okay. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to empower you. Right? Again, because if they can make you angry, they can make you confused, and they can make you fearful, you are not able to distinguish what truth is. Okay. I really, really, really want you to get that. In fact, a book that I'd highly recommend you read is Power versus Force, so that you can understand what it is that I'm saying. Because if you are, so what I mean by that, like, you're like, what does truth mean, Jeff? I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm not talking about God. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about if I muscle tested you and I asked you what your name was and said resist, you would resist, right? If I said a name that was incongruent to what your true name is, your body would go weak, right? Because you're not living in your truth, right? So that's why I said I would encourage you, go read the book Power versus Force to really understand what it is that I'm talking about. Because this is why it's so important for you to know, who are you? Like, what are your values? And the more, I feel like I'm preaching tonight. And I'm going to be dropping some truth here that can possibly change everything from your life from this moment forward. Understand, friends, you're one decision away from changing your entire life. One decision away. I decided to get in a car when I couldn't walk because I was so drunk. That one decision changed the rest of my life. That one decision changed the rest of my life, right? And a friend of mine told me this one time. He was watching, I think it was Jimmy Baker or Jimmy Swagger or something like that. And they were watching him at this thing. And this Jimmy Baker, I think it was, or Jimmy Swagger, was leaning up against a garbage can. And the person looked at him and says, you're one decision away. You're one decision away from destroying the rest of your life. You're one decision away from changing your life radically, right? So what is the decision that you get to make that can allow that to happen, right? And so the reason I'm saying this is what we decide is a reflection of what we truly value. What do you truly value? Okay. Now, we've all heard, get a why that makes you cry. Okay, cool. That has some merit to it, without a doubt, right? Get a why that makes you cry. Now, the thing that's important, though, is to keep asking why. Like, you pick whatever. Okay, why is that important to you? Why is that important to you? Why is that important to you? Because these are your internal drivers. Right. And then you get to look at whether it's away from or towards them. Like, this is one of the things that I did with my clients. Like, when I did my values the very first time, it literally 1,000 times my, not 1,000, 100 times my income. Like 100 times my income when I got very, very clear on what my values were in the context of career. So you understand, friends, if you are confused, right, you are burning up energy at a rapid rate because you don't know where to put your life force, which is your focus, right? So that's why they want to confuse you, right? Is so that you don't know, because understand, in the gap, when we are confused, guess what's going to fill in that confusion? This is where our wounds are going to interpret the confusion. This is why we have massive breakdowns in relationships, right? Is because we're not communicating clearly. And if we do not communicate clearly, what that does is it opens up the possibility for a breakdown. And if somebody has wounds and doesn't know how to hold space for that confusion or be able to articulate who they really are, how they feel about something, their wounds are going to interpret that. And what that means is their insecurities are going to come up, and they're going to want to reach outside of themselves to find clarity. Okay. Sometimes it can show up in a very unhealthy way, right? So this is what it's super important, is to know what it is that you truly value. What is it that you truly value? And then asking yourself, what is it that you get out of valuing that? right? Because once you understand what you truly value, now you know where to put your life force and your focus so that you can create that, right? Why is this important? Because what keeps you from sharing your truth? Like what area of your life, and I've got mine, there's some things that I have yet said on social media because I know how the algorithms work, right? Like I value being able to communicate my voice more than me getting banned or getting shadow banned, right? So I get to play by their rules, right? Rather than, because I understand the algorithms. What algorithms are you in? Right. And because of that, that's why I do everything I can to get people on the inside. Like I say, my objective is to get people to take me to bed with them. Right. Because once they take me to bed with them, I have the opportunity to have them spend more time with me in my books, my courses, whatever. And then from that, then I can be more be able to support them to change their life at a more effective way than just having a conversation with me on social media. Right. So then that's when I start dropping real truth. Right. But I've got to play the rules, right? Like I'm on somebody else's platform, right? Like they're the ones that write the rules. And you might want to look up TikTok's rules. Go look up Joe Rogan. He talks very clearly about TikTok's rules. Whoa, it's amazing what we give people permission to do, right? And see, the other thing is like people get all concerned about taking risks. They don't understand how many risks are taken all the time because they haven't done the work. They haven't looked at what it is that I value and what I've decided to do, right? So you looking at, do you value what's familiar to you more than taking a risk that could radically change your life? It's a great question, right? Like what is the evidence? Oh man, I appreciate you guys are giving me some love. Love it. What is it like? What do you value more? Keeping the narratives and the programs that you were conditioned to believe, keeping those alive and not challenging them? Or do you value discovering what your full potential is? Right? These are questions of really looking at, because every single decision you make is literally you are clarifying what it is that you truly value. Right? And I get it. Like I get it. Like you find out we don't get what we want, we get what we're committed to. So what are you really committed to? What are you really committed to? Like I just talked to a guy, great guy, super awesome dude. Have great conversations with him. I believe he is like an athlete psychologist. He has been in college 11 years. Okay. And he got his first 4 years full ride scholarship, which is awesome because he's an awesome athlete. And then I asked him how much he has spent on school loans for the last 7 years of college. And his bill is about $140,000 just for tuition and books. That is not living expenses. That is not his time. And then he's going to be transferred to I think it's Iowa or Ohio or something like that, to a job that's going to pay him $120,000 a year. Okay. That's the biggest sham that we've ever been sold. Great guy, right? And I asked him some questions about how he supports athletes and moving through their limitations and barriers and thresholds and things like that. It was interesting, like some of it, right? But what I do, like NLP is an attitude and a methodology that leaves behind a trail of techniques. Okay. The attitude is curiosity. The methodology is study and excellence, right? Psychology is just now getting into looking at some different things because, again, friends, understand it's a business. It's a business, just like my coaching. It's a business. I'm here to be transparent to you, but my business is creating results, not customers that are dependent on me, right? Yes, I work with them. Like I like working with clients for about a year, right? Because I've just done it long enough to know that, but yeah, I can make massive shifts right away. And it takes time on the backside of it to be able to integrate what it is, the strategies that are going to be aligned with what it is they truly want to create. Like most people, when you ask them what they want, what they'll tell you is what they don't want. They're not even clear about what it is that they really want, because somewhere along the line, they made a decision of me getting clear about what I want and means humiliation. This is what our environment will teach us. Like you're in an environment that's doing everything it can to make sense of why they're at the level that they're at. And you come to them and you say, hey, this is my dream. And they go, what are you thinking? Like, you got to stay safe. You don't want to take risks. You got to go to school, get a good education so you can get a good job. Do not take that. That's way too risky. Don't do that. Right. And boom, there goes your dream. There goes your dream. Right. This is what happens to us. Right. So this is why, like a guy I talked to today, another one of my clients that worked for a Fortune 100 company, high management, a Fortune 100 company, and they just laid him off. And his dream is to go open up a motorcycle shop, and getting him to see, don't share your dream with somebody that has an employee mindset, right? Because an employee mindset needs to make sense of why they're where they're at, right? And understanding that if you're coming into, like, I used to train for network marketing companies, and this is the one thing I seen destroy more people in network marketing than anything else. They would go get financial advice from broke people, from people that do not know how to manage money, right? And so this is what happens. Like, we value acceptance more than we value expanding our dreams. Okay. Our biggest fear, one of our biggest fears, is being separated from our tribe. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our tribe and say, hey, what do you think about this amazing idea? Right. And if it goes against or makes them feel uncomfortable, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do what they can to keep you playing at the level you're playing at. Okay. Get in an environment that calls you forward. Get in an environment that calls you forward, because your environment is always going to be stronger than your willpower. It's always going to be, because we are homeostasis, right? Which means if I had this and it was full of ice water, it would eventually melt and go to room temperature. If I brought it in as boiling water, it's going to go to room temperature. You are going to balance into the environment that you're in. So pick an environment that calls you forward, right? That's where you want to be, because your dreams mean that much to you, right? Your dreams was given to you. This is why your dreams was given to you, so that you get to discover how freaking amazing you are manifesting and creating that dream. But it's going to require you letting go of the version of who you are now. You will never thrive with survival programs. You just won't, right? Understand, this is what I'm going to be teaching. In fact, the ROIacceleratorchallenge.com, the ROIacceleratorchallenge.com. And if you on TikTok and Instagram, I highly recommend that you get over to the Potential Zone group.com, the Potential Zone group.com. And this is, I'm putting lots of content in there. And those of you that are in the Potential Zone group, I encourage you to go follow Coach Jeff Faldon on TikTok and Instagram. Lost my Instagram account. So I'm building that. I had that up to over 20,000. It got taken away because it's on somebody's platform and I got to play by their rules. So I have a big affinity for getting people to stand in. What is your voice? What is your voice, right? Like, the whole ROI Accelerator Challenge is all about you remembering who you really are. And when you understand, okay, this is the thing about, you can never buy or earn a certificate that replaces experience, right? What is something that you can only receive but never give? What is something that you can only receive but never give? It's wisdom. It is wisdom, right? So me having the seasons that I've had and coaching the number of people that I've coached and being able to create, I've coached 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, right? You're not going to get that any certification. You're just not. Again, I'm not dismissing all the coaching industry, but understand, friends, over 90% of the coaching industry, over 90% of the coaches in the coaching industry make less than $20,000 a year. It's a hobby for them, right? Again, God bless them. That's amazing, right? Like, that's amazing. Like, I remember making $250 a month from my clients, and I'll be putting a story up about that, by the way. I'm actually selling my old office, which was my Hyundai Accent. This is when I first started doing coaching full time. I would get up at 4 a.m, coach until I would go do work for this jeweler, take my hour lunch break, go coach in the car for an hour, get off work, come home and coach for another couple hours. Did that for a long time, for a couple months. And then I went and got my master's certification in like 6 or 7 different disciplines. And now here I am. Like, I've been coaching for decades, but really seeing, like, there was some things that I wanted to create that I wasn't able to create. And I learned some modalities that are able to do what I always wanted to do. And that is get people on the other side of what they're terrified of, right? The more, this is what it boils down to. This is what transformation boils down to. Trusting that you are supported by God, by divine, by universe, whatever you want to call that, and then trusting your ability to make that discernment, okay? Because who can you trust if you don't trust yourself? Like, I hear all these people on I've been spending a lot more time on TikTok. If you're not following me on TikTok, like, I'm putting some awesome content on TikTok, but I'm seeing a lot of people talk about narcissism. Just going to drop another truth bomb here. People aren't going to like this, right? But I have experience. I was raised by a narcissist. Okay? We've got to understand that as long as we blame somebody else for our pain, they own us. We are not stepping in our power, right? And so what's important is that life doesn't happen to us or for us. We've been all, different people talk about, I'm not a motivator. I'm just not. I'm a transformer, right? I make transformation happen with people. And so life happens through us. Life happens through us, which means as I am, so it is. Like I attracted a dark witch into my life that turned my freaking life inside out, right? But if you would have asked me a year prior to meeting her, I would have passed a polygraph test on me if I dealt with everything with my mom. Well, apparently I needed to have some more training to get me where I'm at today. And I'm so thankful for the lesson because it showed me this is where I got to understand the difference between forgiveness, letting go, and true transformation is when you can reclaim the power that the original wound denied you, right? Like that's true healing when you reclaim the power. And having her live with me, I got to experience that. And it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable. And then right after that, I got hooked up with a shadow masculine that I thought was awesome, wanted to do some amazing things together and create an amazing coaching company. And he saw it differently and tried to and did everything good to destroy it. And these are all lessons that I need to learn in order for me to be where I'm at. Fear of failure is a lot. Absolutely. Well, and so let's look at that too. Okay. Fear of failure is nothing more than the meaning we make it mean. Of course, this is another thing, is understanding 75% of what we know in our entire life was by the age of 5. Okay. So let's look at a belief, right? What is a belief? Okay. A belief comes from, where does a belief come from? It comes from authority, intensity, and repetition. That's where a belief comes from. Okay. So think about it. If 75% of what we know is by the age of 5, guess what that means? That means that somebody else authored what is possible for you, right? Think of the first part of the word authority. It's author. So somebody else had the pen and they said, Jeff is possible to do this. This is what Jeff's going to believe about money. This is what Jeff's going to believe about love. This is what Jeff is going to believe about what's possible for himself. This is what Jeff's going to believe about his ability to create. Like understanding somebody else penned that. Okay. Now your opportunity is you recognizing you are the authority now. And now you get to create the narratives and the stories about every single experience you have from this point forward. The experience is how you narrate what you experience. There she is. Cherie's in the house. Good to see you. So think about that, right? That's the power, right? So fear of failure, right, is all it is the meaning that you give it. There's no such thing as failure. There is no such thing as failure. It's an illusion, right? It's nothing more than feedback. But what we do, because of the sham taught us, you don't do what we ask you to do, you fail. You get a big F on your report card, right? And that humiliated us. Or we watch somebody else get humiliated and we go, I don't want to have that happen. And so what we did is we go through life under this performance strategy of either I pass or I fail. And if I fail, that means abandonment, right? So knowing that, I'm only going to take a certain level of risk. I'm going to play it very, very, very safely. I'm going to play it very, very safely. Right. And so I focus on being safe rather than focusing on what is potential for me and stepping out into my greatness. Okay. We were conditioned to believe that. Okay. This is another part of the sham. Right. So you understanding that you are the authority in your life. So what does that mean? I would encourage all of you to study, think, and grow rich, right? There's another book that I'm going to be supporting. In fact, signing up for the ROIAcceleratorChallenge.com, go to the ROIAcceleratorChallenge.com. You will see that you can sign up for $1. It's $1. How much is the rest of your life worth to you? Like if you can't pay $1 to invest into yourself, God bless you. Like I wish you the best. Seriously, I wish you the best, right? Or you can do the $47 version and you're going to get my copy, my interpretation of laws of success. The thing that surprised Hill more than anything else in all his studies, and I think it was literally tens of thousands of people that he interviewed. Most of the people he interviewed were people that like in prisons and stuff like that. But the thing that astonished him, that surprised him more than anything else was people's, is that a word? People's? It is now. People's inability to get honest about their inadequacies. See, our ego does not like to look at our inadequacies, right? Because our inadequacies equal what? Humiliation, because that's what the educational system taught us. There's a reason, friends, that we were not taught emotional intelligence. There's a reason. Will be next 50 years. Brother, I'm sorry. I don't know if that's a male or female, so I apologize for that. You can decide now to overcome whatever it is that you want to overcome, right? We are always put into situations so that we get to see what we're able to overcome, right? And so, hey, Kim, thank you for being here. I appreciate seeing you. So we are always put in situations that we don't believe we can handle so that we can prove to ourselves that we're able to handle it, right? That's why we're put in these situations. And guess what comes up? This is so important. I'm so glad you said that, right? Is understanding when we get into an unfamiliar situation, what we access is infant programs. Okay. And if we were raised in an environment that did not support our development the way that, whatever, right? Like, I believe that I was put on this earth to do what I did, and the environment that I was put in was part of that, right? And so me transcending all that stuff is what's given me the ability to hold space for people that I hold space for today, right? But what happens is when we get into the uncomfortable, our body takes over. Our body takes over and goes into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right? Like, oh my gosh, this is painful, this is scary, I can't, right? And see, understand, it's the humiliation that we've had in the past that is really running our lives. Right. And so what we do, this is what stops us, is we project that into the future and go, I'm not going to choose that because I'm going to be humiliated. But the thing we don't understand is we are the one that has the ability to rewrite the experience. You are the narrator of the experience. Right. Yes, good. You're taking on challenges. Awesome. And another thing, and I'm just being super particular here. Okay. So because I'm looking at what you're saying, you keep trying. Okay. Try is a preconceived failure. Try implies difficulty. Okay. And so I use try as a hypnotherapist, like try to open your eyes, right? It already implies difficulty, right? So that's what I mean. It's already a preconceived failure. So our words, okay, you're getting some real coaching here, is understanding how we characterize an experience or how we characterize how we're going to step into something. We have to be congruent with it, right? So this is what I'm saying is we get what we are committed to, okay? And if I'm going to put my toe in the water and not really commit and jump in and go, you know what? I'm going to create whatever it is I'm going to create, and I trust my ability to narrate how the outcome comes, right? We are meaning-making machines. Like, oh my gosh, right? Like, what determines if you like somebody or not? Like, that's a great question. Most of us don't even understand that. But see, the reason we like the people that we like, or we are drawn to the people that we like or hang out with, are the ones that are like us, right? But that doesn't expand us. That doesn't make us look at what is it about this person that irritates me, right? And understanding it's not them that's irritating me, it's how I'm perceiving them that irritates me, right? So the more we take on that, what about I need? What does that mean? It means that you are believing that you don't have it, right? Everything is about vibrational harmony. Okay, and I love the questions. Thanks so much. This is going to go a little bit longer than I anticipated, but it's because you guys are participating, and I thank you for that. Everything is vibrational harmony, right? Which means, okay, and one of these days I'll bring in my other bottle here, but let's say, for conversation's sake, okay, let's say that this is 100%, this is 0, okay, and let's say that you are at 40% vibration level, right? And at this 40% is what determining everything that you're going to attract in your life that's going to be in harmony with that, okay? If you have two tuning forks and they are different frequencies, they will repel each other. They will repel each other, right? So what we want to do is we want to find out, again, what I said, what was it that surprised Napoleon Hill more than anything else, is getting honest about our inadequacies, right? And see, when we start vibrating at a higher level and we start getting up here to say 5 or 6 on the scale, right? We have to let go of the version of us that's at 4, right? And so we have to start making sense and understanding this, okay? How do you keep a crab? Like, we've all heard this story, but looking at it vibrationally puts a whole different twist on it, right? How do you catch a crab? You put a crab in a bucket, it's going to crawl out. But how you keep it is you put another crab in there, because when one crab tries to climb out, the other one's going to pull it back down, right? That's the strength of an environment, right? You love speaking with people you don't like, and the effort. And what I would encourage you to do, okay, so I love everybody. I love everybody. Okay. Now, some of their behaviors, not so much, right? Like that's my interpretation. But see, if I understand that we are all one, we are all a collective, right? Like we are just souls in a skin bag, right? Like we are electromagnetic beings. So if you start looking at everything as vibration, energy, and frequency, right? And understanding that everybody's been like kids do not like people. Children are conditioned to not like people. A child that is in an environment, loving environment, they're going to go love anybody, right? Like they're not prejudiced. They don't dislike people. They'll walk up to a complete stranger. They'll walk right up to a homeless person just like another person. They'll walk up to a black king cobra snake and go, wow, look at this. This is cool. But see, they've been conditioned. They've been put filters on them that keep them from standing in their greatness. This is why I'm talking about ROI in the ROI Accelerator Challenge is R is remember. Reattach yourself to the awesome human being that you used to be, right? Before you got all these conditionings, right? And so this is an important question. Why is it that we don't like somebody? Why is it that we don't like the behaviors? Because we're accessing something in the past that is associated with pain. That's why. Like I love my mom, right? Like she's very like narcissistic, toxic, like don't want to be around her. Right? But that's because I love me. That's because I love me now, right? And I value me more than I do being accepted by her, right? Like that's been a journey and a half, right? And so once you can value who you are, and I'm not saying that you don't, right? This isn't looking at it as duality. It's looking at things as a scale, right? The more you learn to value who you are and what you offer to this world, because I promise you, it was probably 12 years ago. I used to say quite often that people irritate me, like people just annoy me, right? And because I didn't know how to hold space for people that thought differently than me, right? And so what I've had to really focus on is learning how to hold space for things that are different than me, because it pulls me forward, right? When somebody doesn't agree with me or doesn't align with me or something like that, it's like, wow, that's interesting. Because see, understand, people didn't sign up to be a pedophile. People didn't sign up to be an alcoholic. They didn't sign up to be that way, right? Like I've been an alcoholic. I've done some really stupid things in my life, right? But those are the things that has conditioned me to become the person that I am and let go of all the things that supported me in creating the chaos that I created, right? So I appreciate everybody being here. If you got any other questions, let me know while I'm here. Thank you all for the love. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate each and every one of you spending your valuable time with me, because we don't ever give it back. Yes. Cherie. Cherie is an amazing woman. Go follow Cherie if you don't know who she is. She's amazing. Doing some amazing things. So I appreciate everybody being here. Tuesdays and Thursday nights, I'm here for sure. I'm working on getting on TikTok more. I'm doing more lives on TikTok. So I appreciate you. If you're on TikTok or Instagram, get over to the Potential Zone group and join the community over there. Amazing content. Put content there every single day. If you're in the Potential Zone group, get over to TikTok and follow me on TikTok, because what does I want mean? It means I have lack. It means I have lack. I want. It's outside of you, right? So I am, right? So see, this is one of the greatest, and I'll leave with after this. I love your question. Thank you so much. We have been sold the biggest sham there is, right? And I did actually, I didn't do a video on this. I need to do another one on it. So the marketing formula, right? Like understand, friends, everything you see on TV is ran through a consumer engineer. Every single thing on TV is ran through a consumer engineer. Their job is to create emotion in you so that you consume more. Just understand that. Every single thing you see on TV is ran through that. Okay. So what the marketing formula is, right? This is the great lie, the great sham. The sham is society's hypnotic altered matrix, right? Like that, I came up with that a long, long time ago. But the sham is to get us to believe we must have something in order to do something, and then we get to be something. Okay, I must have this car so that I can do the cool things, and then I get to be this person. I must have this hairstyle so that I get to do this, and then I get to be this, right? That's actually backwards. The true formula of who we are human doings. We are not human havings. We are not human doings. We are human beings. right? So you get to be, then you get to do, then you get to have, right? So you figuring out who you really are, like I said, life doesn't happen to us or for us, it happens through us, right? So looking at the things within you, like what is it that you desire to manifest in your life, and then who do I get to be in order for me to create that, so that I'm in harmonic vibrational harmony with that, and then it comes to you. That's how it is, right? Like you imagine it. So again, what creates beliefs? Authority, intensity, and repetition, right? So you creating visually what it is that you want to create. Who do you get to be to vibrate at the same level as that, and then visualizing it, and then firing up your nervous system as much as possible, right? The more you do that, because your subconscious does not know the difference between reality and what you have going on inside of you, right? So the more intensity you can increase that, and then the more repetitions you have, then you get to be that person. When you be that person, you get it. Does that make sense? I hope that answers your question. Be, do, have. Absolutely. Right? So that's what you want to. Life doesn't happen to us or for us. It happens through us. So when you're in a situation and you have something come up, ask yourself, how did I create this? How did I create this? Right? It's not about blame. When you are blaming, you are in the vibration of guilt. Right? You'll understand that if you ever read the book, Power versus Force. Right? Is as understanding, how did I create this? Like, yeah, that could be a whole other conversation. I don't even want to get started on that, because it's powerful, right? Really, my brother, is it Sammy? Oh man, I love you, dude. Thanks for all the roses. You're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Right? So just think about that. So I'm going to be here every Tuesday night, at least, on TikTok and the Potential Zone group. If you're not there, get over there. Go follow my brother at the Metal Edge. He does some amazing stuff as well. Amazing guy. I love him. He drops truth bombs, and that's my kind of drop. So, and on that, because I said that, think of this. When you live in your truth, this is going to be a truth bomb. I would write this down. When you live in your truth, the results will be what they are supposed to be. Otherwise, you're controlling it to avoid being hurt or separating something. Yeah, Power versus Force by David Hawkins. Power versus Force by David Hawkins. Right? So understand, when you live in your truth, the results are going to be what they're supposed to be. Otherwise, you're controlling it to prevent yourself from going through pain. Boom. That's a truth bomb and a half. So when you are, and you can feel it, like when you're going to go talk to somebody and you're like, right, confrontation. Stop looking at it as confrontation, look at it as an opportunity to clarify and clear things so that you get to be who you truly are. And if you really care about something, and this is what's more important, do you care more about yourself and not hanging on to this stuff, or do you put their feelings in front of you? Okay? Because if you're putting their feelings in front of you, guess what? You are projecting onto them and holding them in a space that you don't believe that they can handle whatever it is that you want to share with them. And then guess what? If you're not expressing it, you're suppressing it. And if you're suppressing it, you are building a time bomb. That's called passive aggressive. Okay? Lots of opportunities for me to move through that, right? I used to come out swinging, and now I've learned how to soften words. I've learned how to make things more attainable, more effective in my communication, right? So everything is training. Everything is training. Like I ask my clients, how long did Mike Tyson train for a fight? How long did Mike Tyson train for a fight? They walk in and freaking knock a guy out within just over a minute. Like, how long did he train for that fight? His whole life. His whole life. Mastery is when you do not have to, when cognitive processing is no longer needed. Mastery is, it's just automatic. Like, this is just who I am. Like, you've mastered driving a car, you've mastered walking, you've mastered brushing your teeth, right? Getting you to master stepping into higher levels of resourcefulness within yourself. That's freedom, my friend. That's freedom. Okay. So join me over at the ROIacceleratorchallenge.com. You'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. Okay. This is going to be my best work that I've ever done. In fact, the reason I'm doing it is I was going to do a course called The Ultimate Influencer, but I just seen more after what happened to the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, it's mission critical to teach people what influence really looks like, so that you can have the awareness and make an educated decision rather than an influenced and seduced decision. that somebody else wants you to make. Okay. This is why I got, you know what, we got to make this happen. So join me over at the ROIacceleratorchallenge.com. Highly encourage you to sign up for the VIP. You'll get lots of coaching. You'll get the courses that I put together and stuff like that. So I'll be doing it at the end of this month. Otherwise, I will see you here Tuesday and Thursday nights on TikTok, Instagram, and on the potentialzonegroup.com. And I'll be doing more lives on on TikTok. So appreciate everybody being here. Much love. Have an amazing evening. See you next time. Peace out. And as always, live like your life depends on it, because it does, and you deserve the best.